All right, now we're continuing in this speech, which effectively is the last speech that the Rebbe gave before he had a stroke, which rendered him paralyzed and unable to speak. And this is in Parshas Vayakel, which was on Kaf Hey Adar Rishon, which the Rebbe had a stroke just a couple of days afterwards. And in it, the Rebbe is speaking about two topics. One is this week's Torah portion, Vayakel, which means to gather together. And also this Shabbat is what's called Shabbat Shkalim. Shkalim is a coin that the Jewish people had to give half of this coin to the Holy Temple. It was a commandment. Half of the coin they had to give. They had to be given once a year. Half of a coin to the Holy Temple. Machzis a shekel. And when was this done? It was done in the beginning of the month of Adar every year. And now it's going to be next week is going to be the month of Adar. Which day? I think Thursday, Friday is going to be the beginning of the month of Adar. I'll tell you one moment. Here we go. Here we are. When is it? Thursday. It was Wednesday night. This coming Adar is going to be 2 days. So the first day is on Wednesday night. It was Thursday. But the first actual day of this year, there's 2 Adars because it's a leap year. So it's Thursday and Friday. In other words, Wednesday night and Thursday night. It'll end when Shabbat comes in. And Shabbat comes in is going to be the second day of Adar already. So that's Rosh Chodesh. So therefore, we with this week's Torah reading is the Haftorah that we read is Shkalim. Very interesting, by the way. We're going to have a class on that at 3:00. Tune in. Very action-packed story about Jezebel and her daughter and all these evil idol worshippers and murder and incest, all sorts of crazy stuff going on. Don't miss it. 3:00. Yoash, the king, was hidden. For the Jezebel killed all her daughter killed all the kings, and only one of them escaped, and he was hidden in the holy temple. It's a bizarre story, worth listening to. Okay. Okay, let's have this. What's this? Something is, what is this over here? All right. So this is a version of what the Rebbe said, but usually it would be given over to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe would go over it and he would correct it. Because there were people he would speak on Shabbos. Of course, nobody recorded this on Shabbat and nobody wrote it down. So the Hasidim, after Shabbat, they would meet together, a big group of them that had good memories, and they would go over everything the Rebbe said, and they would write it down. Right? They would correct one another and write it down. So this is what the Rebbe said. Okay, so this week's the Torah portion and what we're going to read on Shabbat stresses unity. Unity. First of all, Vayakel means to join everyone together. Vayakel, and that's what Moshiach is going to do. Join everyone together. Another thing is unity, the half a shekel. Everybody has to know you're only a half. Another Jew is the other half. Or there's another way of looking at it, that God is the other half. This coin, it says the shekel, it says is 20 gera is in a shekel. 20 gera is in a shekel. And you have to give a half. Gera, you have to give a half. 20 gera. So all you have to do is give 10. So why doesn't the Torah say just give 10 gera? It says you have to give a half of 20. Why does it say it like that? It doesn't say you have to give 10. It doesn't say give 10. It says give half of 20. This is why, because you have to remember that your 10 aspects of your soul are only half of the picture. You have to unite with other Jews, and before that, you have to unite with God. God also, every Jew, of course, is also 10 Sefirot. Everything in the world is 10. And God is also 10. We're created in the image of God. So first of all, you have to unite yourself with the Creator. How do we do that? So we'll learn that. It says, especially in the morning, you say Mode Ani. So let's have a look. Let's go where we are. Here we are. Hine, behold. We'll see what we can do today, and what we don't, we'll do tomorrow. Hine, behold. Hatchalatinyan v'yakel. This whole idea of gathering together all the Jews with all the other Jews which are around you. This is how do you have to begin it? How do you begin this? First of all, you have to gather yourself together. V'yakel imatzmo. You have to gather yourself together. What does that mean? Gather yourself together. Hainu shumakil et kol mitziuto, and this is relevant to every human being. You have to gather together. How do they say in English? Get yourself together. Gather all of your being, the inyan echad, to one thing, one special thing, one point. What is the one point of every human being? That every human being is a part of God. Now, especially the Jewish people, they really just demonstrate this. They are chelik elokam yimal mamash. They're a portion of God from above. Now, every human being, if you look in the Torah, in the portion of Noah, so after the flood, so God says people can't kill people, and you can't commit suicide. Why? Because every man is made in the image of God. You kill a person, you kill yourself, God forbid, then you're killing God. You're trying anyway. You're killing the image of God. God says, I made my image in you. Don't mess with it. Don't mess with it. You're made in the image of God. But the problem is we're made in the image of God when we're alive. But we have to reveal that. We have to reveal it, right? Not just say, oh, I'm in the image of God, and then do what you want. Say what you want, think what you want, feel what you want. No, if you're in the image of God, then you have to be concerned with that image of God. And that's what he means, gathering yourself together. This is also getting yourself, uniting yourself with God. That's vayakel, and it's also shkalim, that you have to realize that you're only a half. He knows of the parasha more, in addition to what we said, that when you join up together with another Jew, then that means that you're half and he's half. Then that means you become one shekel a kodesh, you become one holy shekel. The 20 gera, which is one shekel. Yes, no old parish. There's also another explanation that the half of a shekel, that you're half, and the other half is God, a kodesh baruch hu, kivyachol, so to speak. I mean, God is really not a person, and God is not, but it does say in the Bible, we're created in the image of God. That's what all these Kabbalistic books are written about, explaining what does that mean, because it can't be taken in a simple sense. Okay, you do it like it's known when it says, Shtei chatzotzrot, kesef, v'hainu, Shtei chatzitzorot. So they're supposed to make two trumpets for the tabernacle. When the Jewish people were traveling in the desert, there had to be two trumpets, and the word for trumpet is chatzotzra. Chatzotzra, you can say you have to make two trumpets, or it means you have to make two chetzi tzura, two half forms, that every Jew is only half of the picture. HaKodesh Baruch Hu and God, he's the other half. When you join them together, this becomes one complete thing. This is also an arc, that a Jew is only half. Eser gera. He's one half of this 20 gera shekel. Shekel is 20 geras. Every Jew is one half, 10. Kodesh Baruch Hu, he's the other half. And by joining them together, we're going to see how to do this in a minute. The Eser kochos nefesh of the Jew with the 10 sfirot, which are above, then this becomes shekel kodesh, esrim gera shekel. 20 gera goes into a shekel. You become one. 20, we said before, is the gematria, the numerical value of keter, the word keter. Esrim, the letters, ayin, shin, resh, yud, mem, is 620, exactly like keter. Sha'aliyah, the keter is the crown. That you become like the crown you become connected to the king. That by means of this crown, you become a king. And a king, this is the beauty of God. This becomes by means of joining your half of the Jew with the half of God, or in case also a non-Jew. A non-Jew is made in the image of God. By joining your image with God's image, then this makes you complete. But the Jewish people are chosen to be the example for the whole world. There's more to it than that, but that's the main essence. This joining together is made in a way of vayakel. What does it mean, vayakel? As it is in this Torah portion. Now, sometimes this Torah portion of vayakel is written separately, and pekude, which is next week's Torah portion, is written separately. But sometimes they're read together. And that's most of the time. They're read together. They're read together. This year, they're not read together. They're written they're separately. If so, it shows that each one is an independent, can do the whole job on its own. What pekude means, the details. Pekude means to count, make the details. And vayakel means gathering together the generality. If it's a unit on its own, so lo sheyehudi tzorech litbonen, a Jew doesn't have to think about all the individual topics until he awakens the 10 sfirot of himself and unites himself with the 10 sfirot of God. No, that a Jew, as soon as he thinks about the whole generality, then immediately he can feel this, he's activated all the 10 powers of his soul. And this is by means of what? That he joins together his whole entire self with God's self. By means of this. How does this work? It says, because when a Jew unites himself with God, and then now we can understand also what it means to join yourself with other Jews. This is especially in the connection of every day. When a person says, before he prays, I accept on myself the commandment of loving my brother as myself. In other words, that you have to precede vayakel, joining yourself with all the other Jews. That's what we say before we begin to pray. We say even that what this is preceded, you can even say this, I accept myself of the love of every Jew. This is even in your house before you go out to pray. That's like it says, as soon as you wake up in the morning, you're supposed to say, Modeh ani lefanecha. I am surrendered in front of you, God. And that then a person hasn't got anything, only God. Modeh, first of all, he says Modeh. I think we did this last time. We did this. In other words, the first thing you do when you say in the morning, you wake up in the morning, his whole thing is Modeh. I am giving myself over to you, God. But before he says myself, he says giving. That's what it means. Immediately when he wakes up from in the morning, he said, I'm giving everything over to you. Wakes up in the morning, all of a sudden he's brand new. That's called vayakel. He joins himself together with God. And the Rebbe wanted to put this, saying this Modeh ani, but I'm grateful to you, God, the living, existing God, that you have given me back my soul. He wanted this, all the Gentiles, he wanted to put this in all of the schools, the public schools in America. There's some places where they do this. There was people that opposed it, especially Jews opposed it in the different governments, in the government and in the White House. And so the Rebbe said, okay, so let's just, instead of that, we'll have a moment of prayer. And then they disagreed with that. So they said, okay, let's have a moment of silence in the morning. Everybody can think about what they want to do. And there's some states, as far as I know, that have instituted this. I really didn't go into it any further. Nevertheless, and that's what it means. So that's what it means. As soon as a Jew wakes up in the morning, as soon as a human being wakes up in the morning, he has to say, Modeh, surrendered am I to you, God. That he gives over his whole being. Before he even says the I, he says surrendered. He gives himself over to God, as God is above all understanding. And there's the person, before he starts to think, before he has his personality, he says, I am surrendered to you. That's when it makes that the Jews and God are totally one. There's no difference between them whatsoever. His mode, I am surrendered. This is also stressed to the Bible where it says that the Jewish people and God are chad, one. It doesn't say echad. The Jewish people and God are echad, one. It says chad. The word chad means that you don't have to think and clarify yourself about, does God exist? That's the aleph in the seven heavens and the earth, or the four directions of the world. That's the chet and the dalet. That you automatically draw down this level of the aleph, alufo shalolam, because this is the level of godliness which is above any sort of connection with the worlds. We're saying the Jewish people and God are chad, automatically. From the beginning, he realizes that the whole existence of the world, including himself, is just a pure miracle from God. This is already the connection to Moshiach, the future redemption. But by means of a Jew serving God in a way, Beyakel, in other words, linking himself totally with the creator of the universe, realizing that my whole existence, as soon as I wake up in the morning, it's an amazing miracle. The only real thing is God that's making these miracles. Then all of his being and all the being of the world, then this is, when a Jew realizes this, then he becomes like a holy temple. In the holy temple was revealed this truth. This is the level of God, which is chad, united simply with the world. That the world does not become a separate thing from God. The world is just this amazing, beautiful miracle. And we have to use our free will in order to know what to do with it. Sometimes it's beautiful in that it's challenging. And sometimes the challenges are very difficult. But nevertheless, that a person wakes up in the morning and knows that all challenges from God. From this is understood also when it says Machzis a shekel, this refers to two halves. Namely, what are the two halves? Jews and God. That the novelty that a Jew immediately wakes up in the morning is that not just that Metzius Eser Sfiros de Lamaila is not just that there's 10 aspects of God from above. This is who Peshut Etzl. This is obvious. Gam B'shah Sheyashan, even when he's sleeping. Exactly the opposite. The chidush, the novelty is that when he wakes up and he seems to be something separate, is that his 10 powers of his soul are totally united with God. In other words, to believe that God exists when you're in the synagogue, or that God exists when you're asleep, right? That's an automatic thing, of course. But the thing is, when you wake up in the morning and you think, hey, I'm something separate, right? I got to think about myself, separate from God. And then, but nevertheless, you say, no, that myself, this is a big miracle. And that I can think about myself, this is a big miracle. That's giving yourself over. That's what's called the dwelling in the lower world. Therefore, it says immediately when you wake up in the morning, miyad, immediately, it says, Moda ani lefanecha, you say, grateful am I, surrendered am I before you. Namely, he reveals immediately in himself, shekol metziuto, that all of his being is only just a half. He wakes up in the morning, he doesn't say, I'm the whole picture. There's, nowadays there's going around this whole crazy idea that the whole world is just subjective. It's all in my mind. And I'm everything. Whatever I think, that's what I make. Right? So that the whole world is just me. Which itself is a very stupid, ridiculous idea, even though that's very, well worked out and there's a lot of details. Because what do you mean the whole world is my consciousness? Where did you get your consciousness from? Where did that come from? You created yourself. Where did it come? The whole thing doesn't just is insane to me. But nevertheless, if a person thinks about it for one moment, as he'll realize, where does my consciousness come? Where do I come from? In fact, the fact that I woke up, that's the big novelty. The real reality, the constant basis, secure truth that everything is based on is that God exists and that God creates me. When I wake up in the morning, I can think otherwise. Therefore, I have a choice. Either I can say, I'm surrendering myself to the truth, or you can say, right, I'm the truth. Therefore, you start off with modeh. Modeh means I'm surrendering myself, that I'm only half of the picture. And by means of this, that he gathers and links himself up to the other half, namely to God, to his creator, with all the details, kafishim, as they are the 10 powers of the soul, then they are all mode'ani, then grateful am I, lifanecha, before you. What's the you? The other half, God's 10 sphirot, his 10, his half of the shekel, that this is the 10 sphirot of God. This is how they are. Whether they are how they are in the 10 sphirot, or how they are before that. In the Chassidut, they talk about the 10 hidden sphirot and before the Tzimtzum, etc. This is how they, or after that. In any case, when a Jew links himself up with God, this becomes the Shlemus, the 10 Gera a shekel. Then he becomes shekel a kodesh. Then his whole being becomes holy, the ultimate holiness, the 20, which is in the gematria of Keter. Then, when he links up his 10 powers of his soul and the 10 powers of God, then that comes out to be 20. The gematria of 20 is crown. How the Jewish people and God are totally one. Then the world becomes a wonderful, beautiful place. This service with yourself, Modeh Ani, is made in a way of Rabbe Emunatecha. That's the final. That God's faith in us is very, very great. It's so great, namely, that this makes the Yesod L'Kol Ham Shechavora, that this becomes, it's a great faith that God has in us, that this faith extends itself on everything we do for the whole course of the day, not just when we wake up in the morning. Whether we're talking about gathering with another Jew, which is around us, until all the Jewish people, they become like one in the whole entire world. That's the thing of Purim, all the Jews united together. Or whether Vayakel in everything in the world, not just the Jewish people unify, but the Jewish people unify with every human being in the world, and then everything in the world. It's all one huge, amazing creation, one unity of godliness, and that's revealed by us. When we unify ourselves with the Creator, that's the idea of half of a shekel, that's the idea of Vayakel. This is stressed by the first paragraph that a Jew should say in the morning when he wakes up in the morning, and what the Rebbe wanted every human being to say in the morning when he wakes up in the morning. And it is Modeh Ani Lefanecha Melech Chai V'Kayim Shechazarta Bi Nishmasi Bechem L'Rabba Emunatecha. I am surrendered am I to you, God, the living, existing God, that you have given me back my soul in mercy. Great is your faith. This will carry through the whole day, especially beginning with carrying through the whole entire prayer. The end of the Jewish prayer in the morning is Ach Sadikim Yerushamecha. Yeshvu Yesharim et Panecha, that the righteous will, I say, will give thanks to your name, and the straight people will sit before your face. This means being grateful to God and being aware of God's face. What it means that a person makes a cheshbon nefesh. He starts to make a self-reckoning and all of the things that he's done, the course of the whole entire day. And he says, even when he says Shema Yisrael before he goes to sleep, and which, by the way, the Chidah said that every non-Jew should also say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Listen, understand, Jews, God is one. God is our God. God is one. That's the message of the Jews to the world. Namely, that the end calculation that we make at the end of the day, when we make a reckoning of everything that we've done and everything that we've said, how much of it was really serving the creator of the universe. This includes the 22 letters of the alphabet, which is emet, truth, from Aleph until Taf, et panecha, like we said. At the end of the day, how does it say? Ach tzadikim Yerushamecha, et panecha. What am I? Here, show et penecha, aleph taf. That's from the beginning of the letters of the aleph beit to the end of the letters of aleph beit. God created the world with these letters from aleph to taf, and He gave the Torah from aleph to taf. This means a total unity that a Jew makes with everything that he's done in the whole day. That by means of his service, he can reveal the et, the emes, the truth, et, aleph, taf, and mem is the middle letter, the truth of God to the world. That there's a creator that loves every aspect of his creation, and there's a message in every aspect of his creation, a positive message for every human being. And every human being also carries with him a message that nobody else has, every single one. We have to learn from every human being and from everything. When this happens, the world becomes very interesting. It becomes alive. That's drawing down Hashem into all of the details in the world. That's Vayakel. Vayakel. And that is how the Rambam Maimonides starts off in the book of his 14-volume book, which includes all the laws of Judaism. And it's also hinted at the words Yesod HaYesodot, the foundation of foundations, and the pillar of wisdom. That's the first letters are the letters of God's name, Yud, and then Hey, and then Vav, and then Hey. And then afterwards, you can in the whole rest of the day, that we say, one second, L'chavodo, that everything God created, He created for His honor. Like we said, Hoda'ah. That after it's Asr L'Hafsik B'Devarim, we say Bruch Shem Kavod. I'm sorry, Bruch Shem Kavod Le'olam Voed. Like Hodah, that afterwards it's forbidden to speak in any words and etc. When you find the the last blessing. Oh yeah, I didn't understand this. The last blessing that we say in the day, there's a blessing you say right before you go to sleep. And it says, what's the last blessing that we say right before we go to sleep? There's a blessing you say right before you go to sleep. What is this blessing? It says here. Baruch Atah Hashem. It says, Ameir la'olam kulo, that God shines to the world in His glory. In His glory. And afterwards, you're not supposed to speak. And before you're supposed to go to sleep, I say anything. In other words, that's the beginning of the day is uniting yourself, surrendering yourself with God. And the end of the day is supposed to be that all you want is just to reveal God's glory in the world, the whole world. That's supposed to be the last thing that you say in the day. So unifying yourself with the truth that God is one and God is creating us and that God is enlivening us. That's called, we realize that we're only half a shekel, and gathering it together. That's the whole thing of Vayakel, unifying, gathering together all of our powers till we gather all the Jews together. That's what Moshiach will do. And through that gathering all mankind together, that everyone will express and reveal his uniqueness, her uniqueness, and make a contribution to the world. Everyone will contribute that uniqueness to everyone else in the world so that everyone will appreciate everyone else. That's Vayakel, unification and blessing. Now let's just do tomorrow we're going to continue this. Tomorrow we'll continue. We have just a little bit more than I thought until the end of this from here, Yud Aleph. Tomorrow, Friday. And 1 minute, I wanted to do something over here. Here we go. Here. Hayom Yom. Rabbis and scholars, this is a little bit big. 1 second. Rabbis and scholars are called the eyes of the community and the heads of the thousands of Jews. And when the head is healthy, the rabbis, then the body is also healthy. So be a leader, but be a healthy leader. Have a good day. 3:00, God willing, today, we're going to learn up to now, we've been learning the Megillah, but we'll take one break today and we'll learn the Haftorah of this week. It's from Kings. Very interesting. Be with us. Don't miss it. 3:00 today. God bless you. Have a good day with Moshiach now.